Well, good morning and welcome into the Real Monica Adams show. And it's brought to you by our friends at Invita Health and Wellness. I'm sure you probably are going to hear it in my voice, so let's get it out of the way. Yes, I have been sick probably, I guess, since Thursday, maybe Wednesday, definitely by Thursday. I had a sore throat, was hoping it was going to go away. Just powered it out, but tried to listen to my body. I've been really upping from an immunity standpoint. I'll talk with our guest about that, though. So that'll be one thing that we're going to have her talk about, along with two other very powerful things. Hopefully, you're not dealing with anything. I never had a fever. It just was a sore throat and then into my chest. And now, as you can hear, it's all in my head. So I keep hearing John O'Leary in my head, though. It was very easy to stay in bed. It was very easy to tell both of my guests, hey, I'm not going to do it. Not feeling my best. I'm glad that I'm able to do it from home. Now, this actually was already set up, so it's not because I'm not feeling well. There was power that was shut down to our building, evidently, yesterday, and so they weren't going to have it up in time for us to have our show on this morning. So this was already planned. So I have to smile and say that that was God's way of saying, I'm going to keep you home. You're going to do the show. You're going to inspire people and educate them, but you're not going to have to go into the building. And so that was a good thing. If you're just tuning in, thank you for being a part of the show. We've got some really interesting things coming up for you in the next few days. One of them is a vision setting night. And I want to tell you a little bit about it. I'll pull it up here on the screen for you. If you haven't heard about it, it's Thursday, and it is going to be from 6 to 7:30 Central Time, but 7 to 8:30 Eastern Time. And why am I giving you the time zones? Because we really want to have you tell your friends and family all over the US, all over the world, really, because I'm going to be joining with Kasia Sitar's an incredible fitness expert. She has a clinic in Canada. We're going to do meditation and heart-centric work and vision setting for 2024. Have you ever done anything like that? Have you ever really had a time where it's just you, clearing your mind, focusing on just you? That's what this day is going to be about, this night. And if you're 18 and under, you're absolutely free. If you have kids or grandkids that you want to be a part of this, please have them, because we want to impact their lives at a very early part, which is when they're so impressionable. If they can hear the positivity and know their value, that's what it's all about. So Cash and I, we want you to bring a journal along. We want you to bring your pen. We want to make sure that you're in a room where there's no interruptions whatsoever. So no kids. If you've got children, please ask your partner, your husband, boyfriend, whoever, friend that could come over and take care of the kids. If there's dogs, make sure that they're off in another room if you can do that. Want to make sure that it's all focused on you. It's a very important night. And hopefully this is one of many things to come. Some retreats coming in 2024. A lot of people have been asking me about that. Yes, that's all coming for you so we can continue to impact your life. Good morning, all of you that are signing on. Our focus today is going to be on lifting you up. We, myself and Dr. Sarah Franco, had a chance to build beds. We've been telling you about this. Can you imagine how much we take for granted just being able to sleep? And we talk about the importance of sleep, but what about where you're sleeping? There's children who don't even have a bed, and there's an organization called Sleep in Heavenly Peace. And we're going to talk about John Carney and how he has really taken them as one of his charitable aspects, and then how Dr. Sarah Franco got involved with that and how she introduced us. So we had a chance to build those beds and then deliver the beds. So we're going to show you that. We're also going to talk about Friends star Matthew Perry. If you saw it in the news on Friday, there's some information that came out about what they're saying was the cause of his death. And I wanted to make sure that we focused on it today because it's a part of what they're saying is a part of one of my friends and sponsors' businesses. And she said it was very we always talk about clickbait, that something goes out there just for you to click on it. But she said there's a lot of inaccuracies and there's a lot of people, we've always talked about this, that you see something on the internet and you swear it's gospel. Well, it's got to be this. I've got friends and family that have said, no, I read it. And I was like, well, what's the sources? So we're going to talk about that first. Then we're going to get you into that feel good, sleep in heavenly peace. And then Dr. Charles Willey with Innovair Health Advocates, we will have him on for Ask the Doctor. And he's going to give you some tips. Do you always have to go to the emergency room? If you do, how can you avoid the long waits and the outrageous expenses? He will be on with us coming up at 7:30. So all of that packed into this show this morning, and we'll interact with you as well. Thank you to all that are on right now. We will be back with Dr. Sarah Franco from Invita Health and Wellness when we return.
Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online envitahealthandwellness.com.
Welcome back. It is Monday, December 18th. By the way, if you're a twin, it's National Twin Day, and it's also Talk Like Buddy the Elf on the Telephone Day. So if you want to have fun with people, you want to try that, that is today. It is Monday, December 18th, and it is 7:06 in the morning. By the way, the news you can use, the weather for today, it's going to be windy and cloudy. It's going to be 38 for a high, 20 for a low. And then we're going to get into a patch of mid 40s tomorrow with 10 mile per hour winds. Not too bad. Cloudy also on Wednesday with a high of 55, staying at 55 for Thursday. And then on Friday, that light rain comes in. You're going to see that on Sunday and Monday as well. So there's your forecast. All right. We mentioned that we are going to talk about one thing that is in the news. Now, if you're a Friends fan, you probably saw this. Let me bring our guest on, Dr. Sarah Franco. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So I've got this is kind of like what we used to do in the news. So you look at all this and it's all these sources, the New York Times, CNN, you've got the New York Post, USA Today, Fox News, and it's saying Matthew Perry's cause of death listed as acute effects of ketamine. Matthew Perry cause of death revealed, how the Friends star died. And it goes on and on and on. I wrote you right away and you said, oh yeah, I'm getting a bunch of text messages. We've talked several months ago. We did a really beautiful piece on one of your patients that you have, Gilbert. I hope everybody had a chance to see that. If not, I'm sure Michelle will post it for you. And you've talked about people that have come to you and how they all are, doing fantastic with regards to their treatments for trauma and for depression, etc. I wanted you to address this because you and I spoke right away, and you said that there's so much that people are just all the sources that are putting it out there. You believe that it's just, like I said earlier, like kind of clickbait.
I do, and unfortunately, it's a little, it can be fear mongering too. The fact of the matter is, ketamine can be a dangerous drug. That's why we always recommend that it's done by a professional, that you do not seek alternative methods of getting that ketamine. But I think there's a lot more that goes into this than just, the acute effects of ketamine.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, Monica. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I lost you.
I think we're back. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Yes.
Yes, it went away. I'm not at the studio, but we still have a power issue. Okay, so a lot of it is, and that was the biggest thing that I wanted to say in the article was if you read deep into the article, it talked about how when he first heard about it, he literally said, I think it should have been called the Maddie. Like it was meant for me. And it's almost as if, was he doing it on his own? Is that something that people can they get it on their own and they're administering it on their own?
Well, unfortunately, ketamine it's a party drug. I tell my patients when we do their consultation that the addiction potential of ketamine is nearly non-existent. There's only a couple drugs that are less physically addictive than ketamine: Rohypnol, mescaline, to name just a couple. Alcohol, caffeine, all of those are more addictive than ketamine. The abuse potential of ketamine is second highest. Heroin is the only thing more commonly abused than ketamine. So, unfortunately, it is one of those things that you can get on the street pretty easy.
I know, and that's one of the things that I was reading in the article, that they were talking about. It was a party drug, and then it's being, by a medical professional. It was being administered for trauma, for depression, etc., which you, in your practice, have seen incredible results with your patients, right? But it's administered by you and monitored by you.
Correct. And I'm not even, and I want to be totally clear, I'm not saying that he obtained it illegally. There are there are forms of ketamine that can be prescribed by a medical professional that can be taken at home. And that's one of the things that I feel like may kind of be lost in all of this is, he's America's sweetheart. Everybody was, anxious to hear what had happened to him. And I read the autopsy report. I read all 29 pages. And unfortunately, he had a lot of medical problems. Years and years of drug abuse had wreaked a lot of havoc on his body. And just a few years ago, he was on an ECMO machine, which is basically a heart-lung machine for you after he had a GI rupture, and that was linked to years and years and years of opioid abuse. So what I don't want to be lost in this is just a handful of things. One, ketamine should be administered only by a medical professional. People that are dosing it themselves or obtaining it themselves by illegal ways need to make sure that, either they're not doing that, or that at a minimum they're following what their medical professional has told them to do. Secondly, he was on a number of things that could have caused him to be incapacitated in a body of water. It's probably never a good idea to, and alcohol was not in his system, but, there were the metabolites of clonazepam, which is a benzodiazepine. There was Ativan, which is a benzodiazepine. There was Seroquel, which is an atypical antipsychotic, as well as ketamine. And ketamine, what it does by mechanism of action is it's a dissociative anesthetic, which, although you are able to, in most instances, at least at our clinic, we're using subclinical doses. We're not using a general anesthetic dose of this. At our clinic, you would be able to reach over and push a button if you needed to call for help. If you have large amounts of this in your system, it is literally, figuratively, a disconnect from the physical body and the emotional body, where you're not unconscious. I tell my patients in anesthesia, when we use this, the lights are on, but nobody's home. You're conscious, but you're not really aware of what's going on. So if you're in a body of water and you're not able to get out, or you're not able to hold yourself up, then you could very quickly slip underwater, then slip into unconsciousness, then stop breathing, then your heart stop beating, which is a likely thing, or a likely scenario of what probably happened with him.
If you're just tuning in, once again, this is Dr. Sarah Franco from Invita Health and Wellness. I spoke with her on Friday and thought we needed to start the show. I think we'd kind of be remiss if we didn't, since we have talked about ketamine in the past. And then you're reading this and people have so many questions. I'm sure your patients have as well, like, whoa, hey, is this going to be dangerous for me? He had been, and he was publicly, he publicly spoke about it on a regular basis, all of his addictions and what obviously had happened to his body. Before we go to a break, and then we're going to talk about something a little bit happier, you believe that, well, let me say this. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Do you believe that the autopsy results were pushed out too fast? Because you mentioned that sometimes it could take 6 months post-mortem for toxicology results.
Well, I was surprised to see that it was an actual toxicology report and not just a basic drug screen like what they run. So, so it did seem to be like it was valid reports. However, it was very much sensationalized, I think, and some of those other nuances that I've already mentioned, as well as the fact that he had extensive liver disease, extensive lung disease, extensive cardiac disease. Which, those things are going to come up in an autopsy as well. And those were not directly linked to his death. But the results were toxicology, were the full toxicology results. Now, the fact that he received an infusion 10 days ago, the half-life of ketamine is only between 2 and 4 hours. We'd say about 3 hours. So he had ketamine contents found in his stomach, which means that he was either using it orally. There are ketamine troches that are available, or he was using it intranasally and it had ran into his stomach. The fact that it was in his stomach and in such large amounts indicates that he ingested a large amount of ketamine, more than we would use so in a clinical scenario.
Okay, so once again, we're talking about, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about Matthew Perry and the results that were found, the toxicology results and the autopsy report that came out on Friday. I know a lot of you are big Friends fans, as I have been over the years, and just that was the latest news that had come out on Friday, so I wanted to have Dr. Sarah address that. Before we go to a break, anything else that we didn't touch on that had to do with that?
No, just please know that this is a viable option for a lot of people, and it can be done in a safe manner. Obviously, if you're having struggles with any kind of addiction disorders or anxiety, depression, obviously seek the help of a medical professional, and don't mix recreations. If you're using those kind of substances, you need to, or even everyday blood pressure medicine or other medications. Probably do not get into bodies of water, hot tubs. That's going to cause vasodilation, which is going to, decrease the blood that's coming back up to the heart. Those kind of things. We just need to be sure that we're using these medications safely.
Absolutely. It is 7:16. We're going to take a break. And when we return, Dr. Sarah Franco and I had a chance to do something incredible for children that don't even have a bed. They do now, though. We're going to tell you about this wonderful organization, Sleep in Heavenly Peace. More with Dr. Sarah Franco when we return.
Carroll House Furniture is growing and hiring for many positions. Drive to success, delivering concierge service and setup in customer homes.
Enjoy teamwork in our clean, organized warehouse where Carroll House stocks for fast, free delivery.
Associates sell more and make more with 3.5 acres of choices in stock, infinite custom orders, plus the lowest prices in the country.
If you like top pay and the best benefits in St. Louis, you'll love working here.
So if you like nice things, join the Carroll House Furniture family.
Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show since we launched back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Personal training, life coaching, and styling as well. Info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, it's the Real Monica Adams Show, again brought to you by our friends at Invita Health and Wellness. It is 7:17, and we're going to talk about this wonderful organization that Dr. Franco introduced me to. Tell us a little bit about Sleep in Heavenly Peace first.
So Sleep in Heavenly Peace is an organization. So this is a national organization, but there are several chapters, if you will, in the tri-state area. The one that we visited was the one in Maryland Heights, and it's an organization that provides beds to kids 18 and younger that do not have their own place to sleep.
Which is unbelievable to even think. We're going to be looking at some pictures here. When we went, it shows there 1,071 beds delivered and chapters that just keep growing and growing. So you first were introduced to them by John Carney. Is that correct?
That's correct. I'm on the board for Carney's Kids Foundation, which is an organization that what we try to do is bridge the gap for non-for-profits for children, non-for-profit groups in the St. Louis area that support children in various ways in order to just kind of bridge that gap of funding.
And there were so many people that turned out, and that's the thing. We just need people to continue to introduce us to great organizations like this. So you're seeing the materials. You want to kind of talk about what played out that morning, and how many times have you had a chance to do this?
This was actually the first time. We just rolled out our partnership with Sleep in Heavenly Peace in February of this year. So we featured it at Carnival, which is our largest fundraiser, and it grabbed everyone. Every charity that we support, they're wonderful, but for some reason, I had about 40 guests there, and all of us were just like, when are we building a bed? It was the one that just grabbed everyone's heart. So. This was my first experience, but I absolutely plan on going back for more.
Absolutely. And then here's the thing. So you're seeing us drilling and sanding, et cetera. Some people might think, oh, I don't have any kind of education in that. Some people might have. There might be carpenters and stuff there, but you don't have to have any, do you?
You do not. No, they provide all the tools. They provide all the guidance. They have jigs and markers and everything to show you exactly what you need to do. So they made it very, very easy. If you were comfortable doing it, you could do it. If not, then they would put you on a task that you were comfortable doing.
And I just love, I mean, John Carney is just the most incredible human being. There he is right there. You saw him. So we all came out. And I think the thing was, Sarah, we were all like, oh my gosh, this is such an amazing thing. And you're putting all the materials, but you never get a chance to actually see the bed put together. And so they were sending out emails and saying, if anybody wants to actually be able to be a part of the delivery. And you and I were talking and you're like, do you want to go do that? And I said, well, yeah, that's like the end of the story.
Right.
We don't get a chance to see the story end and see the happiness on the family's face.
I know. I thought, I don't know what I was envisioning. I mean, where would you store 1,000 beds, but yeah, so we basically built the headboard and the footboard, and then they had the rails all put together. And then, yes, whenever you get to the individual's house, then we basically just kind of popped everything together for them. So.
Right. So we were looking at some pictures of the day of the build, which was what? Was that about a month and a half or so ago?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And so then this is me and Sarah returning and getting a chance to get all the materials that you saw us sanding and putting together, drilling together. And then this is actually the home. And the little girl that was in the window, I remember standing next to you going, look at her. And she was jumping up and down like Santa Claus had just arrived.
Yeah, she was so excited.
So then we went in and we were able to build them. You and I really loved what you had said, Sarah. You said half of me wanted to have the kids there running around, seeing the big smiles on their faces. And then half of you also was saying, yeah, but it is the middle of the day and they're probably in the school. So, right. And we want them to be in school because we want them to have an education.
Absolutely. But it did warm my heart when the little girl opened the window shade. I was just like, oh, what a doll. She was so cute.
Absolutely. So again, people might ask, so the recipients of these beds, as far as the organization is concerned, where, I think my husband actually had asked that. And he's like, so how do they get the people that are in need of this?
I'm going to be totally honest. I'm not sure exactly what all methods they use as far as communicating, if you have this need. I don't know if it's other kind of social help groups or what, but I know the families do go online and fill out an application, and they've had so many applications, they actually had to shut down basically taking on new applications for this year. So.
And one of the things I think I heard them say at the end is they're in need of bedding. Weren't they out of bedding?
They were. They said that's one of the hardest things to come by. So they have deals worked out with, I think the mattresses that we used may have came from Walmart. Okay. They came rolled up in those bags and then they just popped out into these, giant twin mattresses. But they have kind of negotiations worked out with Walmart, and then some of the lumber companies, I think they get a little bit of a break on those costs, but the bedding, they said, is what is really difficult to come by.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because when they had that big roll, I was like, where's the mattress? And then like,
it was vacuum sealed. So
for all of you that have ever done suction in these bags, like my mom does that stuff, vacuum seal or whatever. And I was like, oh, he goes, just cut the top of it. And the whole thing just exploded into a mattress. It was incredible.
And it did. And I thought it was so brilliant. I was getting ready to tear the plastic off and they were like, well, it kind of serves as a mattress protector if you leave it on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have this down to a science. This is
they did.
Brilliant.
We were putting the sheets on, and you're so used to making your own bed and having the sheet to where it is right side up. And they're like, no, turn it the other way, because when they fold it down, they wanted that nice little, decoration or whatever. I'm like, okay, you guys are the pros.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, they definitely had it. They very much had a system.
So if anybody wants to be a part of this, because I think, that's the thing when we go into, I wish people would think this all year long, but as we go into the holidays, people have a tendency to be more charitable minded, maybe with actual donations or of their time. If someone wanted to be a part of this, what's the easiest way for them to find out about this?
It would be to contact them through the website, which is shpbeds.org. And then you're able to, any of the things that you just said, you're able to find out where to drop off any kind of donations that they can use. And just before, I had several questions. Does it have to be new bedding? Can it be a used mattress? Because I'm thinking, oh, I have 6 children. I have all kinds of twin mattresses downstairs, in the basement. And it does have to be a brand new mattress. It does have to be brand new bedding. Or of course, monetary donations are always appreciated as well.
Right, and then the monetary donations would help take care of a lot of the big expenses. I mean, we all looked at what's happened over the last few years with the price of lumber, which has just been through the roof. And so I'm sure that that was difficult and the expenses went up during that time period. But if there's someone that can make an actual donation to help pay for some of that, that's where they can go to that. So will you be building more?
Oh, I think so. Definitely. I hope to build some more for sure.
In those videos, you saw a ton of people come out. I want to thank one of my clients, Anne. She was there that day. Your husband came out with you, and he was doing the branding.
Brandon was Brandon.
Exactly.
Yes. I'm like, you were so big. Can't you find something else to do? But he really liked burning wood. So yes.
So what did he say after? Because you two are both charitable minded, and you do a lot of philanthropic work. What was the biggest thing that touched his heart about that day?
He could not believe that there was such a waiting list for kids without a bed. I mean, everyone knows, we know how blessed we are, and how lucky and how fortunate we and our children are. But to think that there are kids out there that don't even have a place to stay, a place to sleep. And, I really, the home that was gracious enough to, open up everything for us to come in and do the filming and to set up the beds. I thought, well, oh, what's it going to be like when we get there? Are they going to just have blankets and pillows on the floor, or, and there was one mattress and a large number of kids and adults that lived in the house. And it just broke my heart that to even think that that there are conditions where they're literally sleeping on the floor. No pillow, no blanket, no mattress, let alone no bed.
Absolutely. And that was the thing. Because when we walked into the house, and this is just one house of many recipients, but when we walked in, I was like, wow, we really do take for granted our lives. And this is kind of the eye-opening thing that I hope a lot of you learn is that, realize your blessings. And it could be simply from the bed, even sheets. I mean, yeah, we looked at what it was before, and then that was the thing that I actually asked George, that one picture that you all saw that said home. I was like, we're giving them a home now, right? Instead of just a floor, we're starting to fill in the home. The home is obviously your family and the love and the blessings you have within your family. But it was absolutely this simple thing. And I just walked out of there and was like, in my head, thank you so much, Sarah, for introducing us to this incredible organization that I never knew about. And thank you to John Carney for making it a part of the organizations that he supports, because I had no idea that people were out there without a bed here in our own, in our own community, people that you might even know that you've seen at a grocery store, or that your kids might go to school with, that you don't know that when they go home, they don't have a bed. So yeah, it's the simple things in life that we take for granted, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for that. And again, if anybody wants to know more information, it's Sleep in Heavenly Peace. And let's make sure that we continue to help them more and more. All right. Before I wrap up, so as I said in the beginning, you could hear it in my voice. If someone needed to have their immunity boost, what's the best thing for us, Sarah?
Obviously come in here and we can get you set up quickly. I told you, stop by anytime and we can get you feeling good, but make sure that you're eating good. Don't focus on things like fats and carbohydrates and sugar. You need to make sure that you're eating lots of fruits and vegetables, a colorful plate, okay, and not colorful like M&Ms or Reese's Pieces or that kind of color, but lots of fruits and vegetables, magnesium, zinc, vitamin C. Those are all the things that we need to be making sure that we're working into our diet.
That's what I've been doing. We went and got some orange juice. I have been doing soup. I mean, we always want chicken noodle soup for some reason. I don't know what is that, by the way. Why are we drawn to chicken noodle soup? Is it the sodium?
I sort of say probably the salt.
Yep. Chicken noodle soup and vitamin C. And I've been doing, yes, magnesium and zinc. My thing is, whenever I'm sick, I don't want to go out and drive to someone, which is why I haven't been out to go see her. But that's Jim had been sick. I'm pretty sure that I got it from him. And his whole thing was, well, I don't want to go get them sick. You've had a ton of people coming in, though. You can definitely see a rise in people getting sick.
We've done probably, I don't know, I think in the last 2 days that we were open, we did 13 immunity boosters, and we also travel too, so the nurses can come to your home as well. So if it gets really, really bad, I can send somebody out there.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you again. If you want to know more information about all the great things that they do at Envita Health and Wellness, go to their website, envitahealthandwellness.com, and then give them your address and phone number.
We are at 333 South Kirkwood Road, Suite 300 in Kirkwood, and the number is 314-394-0950.
All right, my friend, thank you so much.
Thank you as always. Have a great day.
You as well. And when we return, Dr. Charles Willey will be joining us. Ask the Doctor segment. Do you need to go to an emergency room? When is it the proper time? How you avoid the long waits and the outrageous expenses. He'll give us all those tips when we come back.
Think about this. When's the last time you called your doctor at 2 o'clock in the morning and he actually answered? Well, at Innovair Health Advocates, their patients are special. Their doctors, nurse practitioners, their care team care deeply about your health, your family, your work, and even your pet. Their clinicians are accessible and they lead your care in and out of the hospital. In fact, Dr. Charles Willey offers his cell phone number to his patients to ensure they can intervene early in your illness. They can provide care above and beyond, offering lab, x-ray, echocardiogram, and other treatments in their office. Innovair Health Advocates with 5 locations on both sides of the river. Check them out, innovairhealth.com. Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show since we launched back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Personal training, life coaching, and styling as well. Info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com.
Welcome back. It is 7:31, and we want to thank Dr. Sarah Franco again. I want you to share that with as many people as you can to let them know about that incredible organization, Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Isn't it amazing that we didn't know anything about the fact that people are, again, I think a lot of people think maybe in another country, not here. The kids have beds here. Nope. So thank you again to Dr. Sarah Franco for doing that for us. Good morning to Kathy Anselmo, Leona, making sure that I say hi to each and every one of you. Kathleen Morris, good morning. Yes, Michelle has posted the different organizations that we've been talking about. So again, it's Sleep in Heavenly Peace. It's shpbeds.org. She also posted for you the Thrive podcast. That's where you can find Kasia Sitar's. And she also posted the link for you because if you are looking to be a part of our Thursday night event, it is from 6 to 7:30 p.m. It is to set the vision for right now and for 2024 and beyond. We're going to do some meditation work. We're going to do heart-centric work, vision setting. Maybe she said to bring a book or some magazines because as we do some meditation, maybe you'll go through that and some words will jump out to you. You're not sure why, but your heart is grabbing onto those. So that's what you need. Book, as well as magazines, and then a pen and maybe a journal and just a quiet space. We would love to have you there. So it's on my website, TheRealMonicaAdams.com, and you will click on what's new, and then you'll see the Cultivating the Vision night. Kathleen, good morning to you. Linda, good morning. Sean, Marilyn, and Pamela, Terry, Julie said she loves Carney's kids. Yes, Paula Berner. She is fantastic. She's actually involved with Gilbert, who we did that wonderful piece on. Hope you feel better. Yes, I need to get that boost. Exactly. Hello, hello, hello. And Stephanie is in Minnesota. Oh, I love it. Thank you for being a part of the show and to each and every one of you. Well, we had Dr. Willey on, but I think he was having an audio issue. So I'm hoping that he can get that fixed. We were going to talk about emergency rooms and how many of you have been going to emergency rooms and saying, my gosh, here I'm not feeling well. Is it an emergency? I've heard people say that in the past, like, do I need to go to the actual hospital emergency room? And then you end up getting that outrageous bill. Or do you go to one of those, what do you call them? Those emergency care clinics, etc., or do you actually go to the hospital? So he was going to give us the breakdown of wait times, avoiding the outrageous expenses, things like that. He did pop off on me, and I'm hoping that he's able to come back on. But we had this problem when I had to do him remote. He was on vacation somewhere, and it took like 10 minutes for him to figure out the audio side. So I hope we get a chance to bring him back. Let me make sure he's not texting me. No, he has not. So let me just, let me see with all of you. I mentioned today was National Twin Day. How many of you are twins? Celebrate yourself today. Good morning. Hope you get to feeling better. Take care of yourself too. That's a really good point. And I'm going to have to thank my family and friends. I didn't want to disappoint my mother. So I did go to Josephine's on Saturday with my husband and my mom. And I probably shouldn't have. But I did. Kathy says she has twin cousins. I always wanted to be a twin. I'll come back to that in just a second. Anyway, a lot of people say you have to listen to your own advice, Monica, and you're right. That is a guarantee. So I preach it to you, but I hate to disappoint people. So that's where it came from. All right, it's 7:35. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to see if he has fixed his audio. I hope so that we can get you all the information that you need when it comes to, do you have to go to the emergency room, or can you avoid the long lines and the expenses? We'll have hopefully Dr. Willey on when we return.
Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment, or online envitahealthandwellness.com. Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show since we launched back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Personal training, life coaching, and styling as well. info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com.
Carroll House Furniture is growing and hiring for many positions. Drive to success, delivering concierge service and setup in customer homes.
Enjoy teamwork in our clean, organized warehouse where Carroll House stocks for fast, free delivery.
Associates sell more and make more with 3.5 acres of choices in stock, infinite custom orders, plus the lowest prices in the country.
If you like top pay and the best benefits in St. Louis, you'll love working here.
So if you like nice things, join the Carroll House Furniture family.
Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show since we launched back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Personal training, life coaching, and styling as well. info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com.
Welcome back, 7:38. And again, you're tuned into The Real Monica Adams Show. We were hoping to have Dr. Charles Willey on. Not sure what's going on with his computer, but I'm pretty sure that you would not be able to hear him. So I will keep an eye. I think, hold on. Maybe we're lucky. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see if you could hear him. Dr. Willey, can we hear you? No, we cannot. Nope. All right. It was my hope that we could, but keep talking to me. You all can't hear him. I'm pretty sure. You can tell me if you can, but I'm pretty sure you cannot. So let me come back on here to you. Dr. Willey, by the way, is with Innovare Health Advocates. And we were going to talk about emergency rooms. And, all of us, when we get sick, you want to avoid that in your mind. You think, well, I don't want to go to emergency room. And people always say that. Why? Because they think, I'm going to have to be in long lines. They're going to think that somebody has a worse case than I do. And then, oh my gosh, the expense of my insurance, et cetera. Those are the tips that we were wanting to get from Dr. Willey today. If if he can get his microphone fixed or whatever's going on, I'll bring him on for you. But I don't even hear him in my queue. If I did, I would bring him on for you. But yeah, that's the thing that, when it comes to this type of season, I'm not talking about, just regular things that happen like falls and things like that. And then right away you're like, oh yeah, I got to call 911. I'm going to go to emergency. Those are things that, yes, that happens. But when we're sick, like you can hear in my voice, this wouldn't be where I would go. I actually don't even like to. You tell me, do you? I don't like to go out because I think the biggest thing I have in my head is that I don't want to make other people sick. And I know that when you go to the hospital and then in people's minds, that used to be my brother, my family, they used to say, well, we don't want mom to have to go because is she going to get sick from everybody else that's in the hospital? I'm like, well, it depends on the level, right? Like how bad off are you of whether or not you have to go? Dr. Willey, you can keep trying to talk. If you can, I'll bring you on. Nope. I don't know what's going on with his microphone. Anyway, how many of you have been through the levels of that? So you say, do I go? If not, do you try to get into your regular doctor? Do you go to one of the clinics? Have you been hit with an outrageous bill in the past because of that? And I'm sure that all gets you frustrated as well. Those are the things that we may end up having to bring him back on for. I don't know if he's trying to text me, but I definitely cannot hear him. And so I'm pretty sure that you all can tell me when we had him on, you couldn't hear him, could you? Because if you could, there's something that's very strange. But when we had him on just a few seconds ago, you could not hear him, right? I just want to verify that. I'll also ask Michelle to send me a text just to make sure. If you are just tuning in, how many of you have been dealing with one of the many things that are out there right now? So my husband had something I think different. He had a fever. I never had a fever. Mine was in my throat. And this is where we should listen to our parents. Okay. Even when we get older, we should listen to our mom. My mom said, I don't know if you should have gone. And she called me last night. How are you feeling? And I said, yeah, I thought so. Thank you, Michelle. I said, I feel better. I thought. And then last night was when it all, instead of moving down, like I used to think, when I was a kid and I got sick, it used to be here and it would move down into my throat. This now, the last 2 times I've been sick, and I have not been sick in a long, long time, it went upwards. So it was in my throat and it moved upwards. Yeah, thank you, everybody. That's what I thought. So anyway, how many of you have been dealing with us? I know that they all said they couldn't hear. Nobody can hear him. So we may end up having to have him on again. He just signed off. So I'm not sure, but that's what happened with his computer or whatever last time, and we got it fixed. But there's a reason I always tell people, sign on early, et cetera, et cetera. He couldn't hear him. I thought so. We had a good Thanksgiving. Horrible congestion. Sorry, Richard. I usually avoid emergency rooms and urgent care. I've been really sick within the last week, but I couldn't get into my doctor's office. I know, and that's one of the things that I was going to talk to him about is people want to avoid the emergency, but then they also try to get into the doctor, and the doctor's flooded with tons and tons of patients, and then they can't get in. My reason is because I usually get misdiagnosed or over medicated. You need a better doctor. You need Dr. Willey. Good morning. Get well soon and rest. Yes, Jim brought up a good point though. So you think about it, and this is the whole thing that was saying earlier from John O'Leary. John O'Leary said to just show up. So what does that mean to all of you in these final 15 minutes that we have? That is something that out of all the guests that I've had on, I always try when I wrap up to take bits and pieces and then take that and carry that through my day. John just really lit me up, and I'm not using that as a play on what he's gone through in his life or the book or the movie coming out, but this one particular comment that he had. And so where is it bad to show up and to push and then try to find the line? I mean, this is one of the things that I'm sure we'll talk about on Thursday night. Where's the line of you don't push and you have to rest? Right? So there's like push, and then there needs to be a release. When do we do the release? That's the hard decision to make in life. So when I said we have to listen to our parents, moms and dads will say, hey, we've got to get you well. You keep the kids home from school. You've all been there. You've done it. Or, I don't have children, but when I was a child, I think back, you stayed home. you didn't go in because your parents didn't want you to infect the other kids, or it's a petri dish there, right? So everybody's getting sick, everybody's passing things around. It's the same thing. Jim's trying to figure out, well, who got us sick? And he's like, it's your clients. I was like, you don't know. But I think they all have been responsible. They were sick, they stayed away. I was supposed to have class tonight. I don't think it's probably smart that I do, so that's probably going to get canceled. I have been very smart in resting. I am so behind though, and as I've been mentioning, for all of you that are kind of in the same boat, it is sometimes where you just say, hey, you know what? What matters of the season? Is it about the gift, or is it about the gift? The gift between the love that we have for each other. I have, I think, at least one gift for everybody. Nowhere near what I am used to doing, but it just couldn't happen. So for all of you that have been going through the same thing, my heart goes out to you, because, and the healing energy goes out to you, because that's the thing. We all have been rush, and sometimes it needs to be slowing down, and then we get sick, and this is what happens. Richard said that's exactly what I struggle with. You have to get up, you have to get moving, but you also have to rest when it's time to rest. Knowing when to rest and know when to get up can be confusing. So let's address that. Again, we've got about 15 minutes left, and I don't know, Dr. Willey signed back on for a few seconds, but I just don't think we're going to be able to do it justice. If we can hear him, I might put him on, but yeah, I just want to, we'll switch things up, and this is what you have to do. You got to do the dance a little bit. So it is one of the most confusing things, Richard. I will agree with you that in life, you hear people say, always do your best. It's one of the 4 agreements that so always do your best. Never assume, don't take things personally, and be impeccable with your word. Those are the 4 agreements from Don Miguel Ruiz. Love that book, and I've always passed that along to people. So if you always do your best, I've said this before to clients, my best when I'm feeling like this is not 100%, but I'm going to give you 100%. Does that make sense to all of you? This is the thing that gets confusing that we'll talk about probably on Thursday night. How do you do your best when you're run down? Well, you just give your best, but your best looks different each and every day. It will look like, holy cow, I can go run a marathon. Holy cow, I'm like an Olympic athlete. Yes, and you feel like you're bulletproof, 200% that you have in you. Then you give 100% when you feel like this. It's still 100% though. It still adds up to doing your best. Does that make sense? A little bit more? Okay, now when you are like this though, you have to listen to others around you, do a check on you to say, you need to slow down a little bit. You need to make sure that you are eating. You need to make sure that you're hydrating yourself. And like Sarah just said, you need to make sure you're doing more fruits and vegetables. I've been doing blueberries, antioxidants that are in those, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries. I'm glad you just said the thing about vegetables. I threw in some spinach in my protein shake that I made the other day, just to make sure that I had my phytonutrients. You want to make sure that you have that. A lot of people take greens and they pour them into their protein shakes, etc. I'd rather have the actual source. So if you've never thought about that, and some people are like, ooh, gross, don't you taste it? No, it's all blended up, and it's the greens that you're doing on your own. So I just put a bunch of mixed greens or spinach into my protein shake, and that will help you. Linda says, my husband had his yearly checkup. His doctor cleared him with a good bill of health, but said if you get sick this winter, try not to come to his office. Call if necessary, but stay home. The offices and hospitals are full of sick people. Stay away. Glad you're staying in. Yeah, exactly. Richard says you're doing too much. Slow down. You need to rest. These are the things my wife tells me all the time. All right. So I believe we might be able to salvage about 15 minutes with him. I just heard him. Let me see if you can hear him. Let me bring him here. I'm going to disconnect his last one. Bear with me here. I'm going to put him on. All right, everybody, tell me. Let's try it. Dr. Willey, talk to me.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. I've done the dance for you, my friend.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so we've been talking about when it's necessary to go to the emergency room. And a lot of people are saying that they want to avoid it because they feel that they will get sicker because everybody's sick at the emergency room or sick at the doctor's offices. So address that.
Well, that's a good caution, and true. And you might wait way too long there as well. So emergency rooms are for emergencies, things that are dangerous in the short term, right? If it's not dangerous in the short term, you can wait a little bit or contact, a doctor by phone or online, or, wait till tomorrow, call their office, get an appointment, all of that. So, yeah, best not to go unless you need to. So how do you know if you need to go?
Yes,
Um,
that's the $1,000,000 question. So what steps do we go through in our mind to say it's time?
in this era of high-tech medicine, some of the most important information is really simple, really basic, and we've been available to us for a long, long time. And they're called vital signs. And in this era, it's easy to have vital sign gadgetry at home, especially the pulse oximeter, little thing you put on your finger. Most people know about them now. They became pretty popular during COVID. We bought hordes of them during COVID and gave them out, especially to anybody who was sick, because in that first wave of COVID, those viruses were killing some people. And a clue to know was if your oxygen became low. If people had the COVID, the oxygen's okay, oxygen saturation's okay. Hang on. If it starts dropping, danger. So the pulse ox, it gives you the oxygen saturation, your heart rate. If your heart rate's calm, your oxygen's good, that's very reassuring. So the other common gadgetry is a blood pressure cuff. Most of them are electronic now, and they give you the heart rate as well. But if the blood pressure's good, the heart rate's calm, the oxygen's normal, then you have a high probability of being okay, not needing the emergency room. Temperature is another one. Fever is common in illness. If it's really high, that's an issue. If it's teeth chattering chills, you have chills, but you're really shaking. Could be a clue about bacteria in the bloodstream. So get to the hospital. And if your blood pressure is low and your heart rate's fast, call 911. So vital signs are really critical. And in my world, I say, call me. If uncertain, call me. If you think you have a 911 emergency, call 911. Right? The paramedics will come. They'll help you figure it out. But if you're thinking, gee, should I go to the urgent care or should I go to the emergency room and drive in my car? Call me first, and I can often help the patient sort it out.
So you're just going to take them through the steps? Because Linda wrote earlier, and she said, my husband had his yearly checkup and his doctor cleared him with a good bill of health, but said, if you do get sick this winter, try not to come to my office. Call if necessary, but stay home. The hospitals and offices are full of sick people, so stay away. That was the comment from their doctor.
Well, I don't think I would stiff arm folks quite that much, but
exactly.
I mean, if you're sick, you need the doctor. And, if you call first, we can sort it out. We can go a long way. Let's see. In my training, a wise medical school professor, and I think there's data for it, that 90% of diagnoses can be made on the history taking. So that's talking to you. We add another, let's go back to 85%, add another 5% with the physical exam, and then add 8% with testing. And 2% we're still trying to figure it out. So we can go a long way in a video conference with a patient, especially if they have vital sign gear at home. So I recommend everybody get that pulse ox and blood pressure cuff, and take your vital signs if you're going to call your doctor.
And do you have? Are there some that are better than others? Do you recommend where's the best place for them to get those?
I think most people just buy them at the. I think they're sold in the pharmacy section of most pharmacies and/or stores like the grocery stores that have pharmacy sections. I don't have a brand name in mind. By now, they're all pretty reliable.
Okay.
And they're not very expensive. I don't know, $30 to $60. So just a great couple of gadgets to have on hand.
Okay. Marilyn just asked a question. She said, Dr. Willey, what do you think about the RSV vaccine? I'm in my late 60s.
Yeah. Well, I might get myself in trouble, but RSV's been around forever. Most people, when they get it, they think they have the cold. It's an upper respiratory. And in immunocompromised people or some infants, it can become a lower respiratory illness, a pneumonia. So I don't think most people need the RSV vaccine. It's been around for a while, so it's available. The pharmacies are selling it, recommending it.
Well, and that's the thing that people get confused because, we look at this season. I mean, you can hear it in my voice. I've been home the last several days trying to do everything that I need to do to rest. I have no idea what I have. I never had a fever. So people are like, "Oh, did you get a COVID test?" And I was like, "No, see, this is the thing that I guess you can guide us on this, Dr. Willie. If we are run down, mine was in my throat and then moved up. Could I have called you to come in? Yes, but then my mind is, but then I don't want to get other people sick. I can take NyQuil or DayQuil or boost my immunity by taking more vitamin C and magnesium and zinc and do my chicken noodle soup, etc. Would you say, well, Monica, I still would have liked for you to have come in? What would you say to that?
Well, listening to you now and hearing that history, I would say no.
Yep. See?
Your vital signs are normal. You didn't have teeth chattering, bed shaking chills.
Right.
You didn't have a giant fever, 103 or higher. So no. And most the odds on are, of all comers, if you had 1,000 people have what you have, 990 of them, it would be a virus and it would run its course.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a cold virus, maybe a mild case of the flu. Maybe it's the COVID, but this version of COVID is a nothing burger. Nobody's dying of it. I had 98-year-old little old lady in a wheelchair, very fragile. She came to the hospital. We kept her 2 nights, but she did fine. And so people just aren't dying of it. Now, if you're immunocompromised, you're getting cancer chemotherapy, that's a different story. Be more cautious. Talk to your oncologist. Talk to your internist. But no, I don't think you had to come. And it's going to run its course. Those medicines you mentioned are all for comfort. Yep. They don't make it go way faster. It's likely true that quality sleep, proper nutrition. Linus Pauling was a Nobel Prize winner, and he was a great advocate. Nobel Prize winner for discovering DNA, I think, and he was a great advocate of vitamin C. Certainly you have to have adequate vitamin C. Whether taking more makes a difference or not, I'm not sure. But I take a couple every day.
It just makes us feel better. Well, I will say this morning, I mean, it just went well into my nose and my eyes. And I was like, okay, if I take some DayQuil, I think it'll just make it subside for a little bit. Like you said, it makes you feel a little bit better. I always did wonder, so I'm glad you just addressed that. I always wondered if it did make our symptoms go away faster. So you're saying no, it makes it feel better for a short time period. And then it comes back. I was like, okay, now here it's back. How do we stay ahead of it?
Comfort. Now, some folks who have asthma, it might cause their asthma to exacerbate. And asthma is inflammation beyond what we perceive as necessary for the lungs. And some people will get a virus and it'll get in their lungs and trigger their asthma, or a kind of a chronic bronchitis, which is a less persistent, less recurrent version. And so they're coughing and maybe even wheezing and producing more bronchial secretions, coughing up junk for a longer period of time. But if it remains clear, the probability is great that it's a virus and it will run its course. Now, if you have asthma and you have this problem, start your inhaler. If that's not settling it down soon enough, call your doctor. Maybe you need a tapering dose of strong anti-inflammatory called steroid, most commonly prednisone. Now, some folks have sinus infections. What's that? Sinuses are air pockets in the bones of our face, forehead, cheeks, and straight behind the nose. They each have a little, they're lined with mucous membranes. They each have a little opening into the nasal passage. A virus can clog that passage up, trap secretion, give bacteria an opportunity to grow in that warm, wet, sweet environment, and turn it into a bacterial sinus infection. A clue about that is if the secretions are turning colorful and flavorful, malodorous, and unpleasant flavor, by the way. If you're the person you live with says, hey, your breath is bad, or sometimes you can taste it or smell it yourself. But that's a clue. It might be shifting to bacteria. It might be time for an antibiotic.
Huh.
And the decongestant, in theory, can keep the mucous membranes thinner, keep that ostium, that opening from the sinuses into the nasal passage, from clogging, and prevent bacterial sinus infection. So we mostly wing it, educated experience, but if the symptoms are going on beyond 5 days a week, especially if they're accelerating, that's a time to call and maybe get some medication to intervene.
Okay, good to know. Mine started on Thursday just as a sore throat, but it's interesting because Jim was saying, Monica, yours sounds complete. He did have a fever, and he's like, yours is completely different than mine. Mine now has moved up, but the what Dr. Willey was just saying is something to really kind of key in on. My gums were bothering me, and he's like, what are you doing? And I was taking an ice pack and putting it right here, and I said, I can guarantee you it's getting ready to move up into this area because all of this was starting to bother me. And I said, it's gonna push up. This has happened before. Those are the signs that I'm looking at. I don't when I'm blowing my nose, it's just clear. So I am keeping an eye on whether I think it turns into an infection or not.
So Sudafed might help.
Yes.
And there's, let's see, since the methamphetamine dirtbags got after the Sudafed to make
Yes.
methamphetamine out of it, it's more difficult to get Sudafed, but it's a strong decongestant. It can shrink those nasal mucous membranes and keep your sinuses flowing. I don't know what's in Dayquil. Everything but the kitchen sink is in Dayquil.
Exactly.
In it or not.
Let me see. So we've got some questions coming in. Kim said, Dr. Willey, what are your thoughts about the pneumonia shots for people 60 plus?
Yeah, I think the pneumonia vaccine has been useful. It's the original was called Pneumovax. It's directed at the pneumococcal bacteria, pneumococcal pneumonia. Not all pneumonias, not viruses, not other bacteria, but the pneumococcal pneumonia. Now, it's one of the most common and one of the most dangerous. So it's worth taking the pneumonia vaccine. The original version was take it twice, 5 years apart. There's a newer version, a higher potency with more strains in it. The original one had 23. Then there came a pediatric one that had only 13, but one of those was different than what is in the 23. Now I think the newest one is high potency and has all those strains in it. So a very worthwhile endeavor, the pneumonia vaccine.
Okay. If you're just tuning in again, Dr. Charles Willey with us from Innovare Health Advocates, and we are doing our Ask the Doctor segment. Linda said, do you normally run a fever with COVID or the flu? Knock on wood, we rarely get sick, but she's wanting to know if there's a fever, with COVID or the flu, or would it normally have a fever component?
The flu, definitely. You get a fever, aching, and the first day, even from a simple cold or the RSV, first day, you're liable to have fever, achiness, mild chills, and generally feel like you got run over by a truck that first day. And the COVID, this latest version, it's achy, fatigue, fever, cough, and the fever hasn't been great. Most people who tell me about it haven't even taken their temperature, but I believe there's a low-grade fever there.
Okay.
Yeah, don't forget to take your temperature. That's a useful vital sign that people seem to forget.
And don't forget to actually have a thermometer, because we went to take Jim's and he's like, where's my old school thermometer, the one with the mercury in it? And that we don't know. And then we had the other one, the battery's out. So we couldn't take it. I'm pretty sure he had a fever and then he broke it, but we couldn't take it because we didn't have a working thermometer. That's not a good thing. Terry just said, what do you think about the medicine/pill that they're using for COVID? She said, I believe it's called Paxil. Not sure on the name.
Yeah, Paxlovid. We used it during the first two strains, and we weren't confident that it was helping. It was a quick approval medication, so we weren't fully confident of its safety, but by now we haven't seen much negative about it. But I tell folks this version of the COVID is so such a nothing burger, it's not worth taking a pill like that for.
So if
So
somebody gets COVID, what do you recommend that they do?
um, same thing that we do for all the viral syndromes. COVID's a virus.
Hmm.
Hydrate, rest, um, and then treat it symptomatically. Keep your mucous membranes moist, so that's hydration. Maybe Mucinex,
Uh-huh.
because the cough can be an annoying dry
Yep.
cough, and if you can keep more moisture in your windpipes, you might cough less. Cough suppressant, all for comfort. Uh, Tylenol and ibuprofen, if you can take it on day one when all that achiness is happening. So, and people underestimate Tylenol. The arthritis strength Tylenol is virtuous because it's 650 milligrams. You can take 2 at a time. That's real pain relief. It's one of our best pain relievers, actually. Under recognized, and it's also the arthritis strength Tylenol. There's a generic of it. Is a long acting, so 2 every 8 hours does the trick. And now ibuprofen works by a different mechanism. Both are pain relievers. Both can help relieve fever. Ibuprofen is also anti-inflammatory, but taking maximum prescription dose of ibuprofen was 800 milligrams every 8 hours. So you could do that. Take 2. The over-the-counter pills are 200 milligrams, so 2, 3, or 4, 400, 600, 800. And I always recommend having something in your stomach for that, a meal or maybe an antacid like Gaviscon. But those are complementary and can help you get through that first few days of misery.
Terry, I think I don't know how you pronounce this. Was it remdesivir?
Yes.
So
Now,
she just
remdesivir is an
yeah.
antiviral, and
Okay.
again, in the first 2 versions of the COVID, we used it. Quite a bit of serious medical controversy about whether it was worthwhile or not. What was the side effect profile? But we used it, and it was an interesting time because there was a lot of communication among the doctors as we practiced. As we were trying to treat the COVID. Hey, this might be working. That might be working, and so remdesivir got approved and used, but we didn't have great confidence that it was really helping. This version is not serious enough for remdesivir. Now, I notice when my patients come to the emergency rooms and they're COVID positive, there's a reflex to consider Paxlovid and or remdesivir, and I make the judgment based on how sick they are.
Okay.
If they're not very sick and they're not really vulnerable, again, immunosuppressed, probably don't use them.
Okay. Well, one of the things that, before we wrap up, one of the things I know that you wanted to do to give tips was to try to, if they do have to go to the emergency room, how do we avoid the long wait times? And then, as you'll see here on this slide, the expenses, because people, especially as you have a lot of patients that are older and they don't have this income and they're hoping that they're covered by Social Security and Medicare, et cetera, but the expenses are adding up. So what are the tips that you can give to avoid the long wait lines and the outrageous expenses?
Well, as we've said many times, be healthy. Stay healthy, be healthy. But if you have a concern in avoiding the emergency room, again, know your body, take your vital signs, call your doctor, and if it's me, call me. You'll have, if you're my customer, you'll have my cell phone, and we can chat it out and help decide. I tell my patients now, if, as I said before, if you're thinking about urgent care or the emergency room in your vehicle, not 911, call me first. I can probably help you sort it out and save you the trip. If you call 911, call me second. And some of those EMS folks don't want to talk to me if they've got a protocol. They run by list. But some of them will talk to me, and I can help them sort it out. I can help them understand your history and what to look out for. And often we can come to a reassurance. Oh, this isn't so bad, based on the examination in the moment, and based on my knowledge of the the vulnerabilities, given the person's history, I can get the paramedics and the family patient comfortable not to transport sometimes. But sometimes in uncertainty, we err on the side of caution and transport anyway.
Yep.
But those are ways to sometimes prevent a trip to the emergency room. And the copay, the ambulance ride is often not free.
Right. It's very expensive.
Yeah, often not free. So I think you need good advice in the moment. That's how I can help my patients avoid costs, is to be healthy, take the phone call, intervene early.
Yep.
I was on the duty this weekend for our 3 to 4,000 patients, and I got 4 calls. Okay, if we take great care of folks, we help them stay healthy, and we're available, and they respect it. Many doctors don't give out their personal numbers because they're afraid to be inundated, but 99.9% of people are respectful. They'll call you if they think they need. Most of the time, it's simple and pleasant. Sometimes we're making a big difference.
Absolutely. Well, that's kind of where I wanted to wrap up, is if you have a physician that's not readily available to you, that doesn't get back with you, that can't get you into his office, and you think, well, gosh, I would like to have a physician like this. Marilyn just said, I love you, Dr. Willey. Thank you for being so informative every week. That's it. The connection you're feeling with Dr. Willey on these just once a week, and what you're feeling from thinking, well, I would like to have a doctor like that. He does have new patients that he's taking on. There are 5 locations throughout the Missouri and the Illinois side, affiliated with 11 different hospitals. You can find out more about them at innovarehealth.com. And that's the reason why Jim and I both have him as our physician, because the type of care that I see that Dr. Willey has is unlike anything that I have ever seen. And he's literally trying to avoid you having to go out there to the emergency if you don't have to. And it's just simply making that call. Obviously, we don't want you to put something off if it's a true emergency, but there's a lot of expense that goes into it, a lot of waiting, a lot of you thinking, well, I want to be taken first, but then there's other people that they're categorized in trauma that they have to take before, and you're sitting there for hours. And that's one of the things that he wanted to talk about today.
Monica.
So, yes.
Yeah, so we have a fun gadgetry for our Essence members and our regular Medicare members, patients, that I get a text on my cell phone when they register in the emergency room. So then what do? I call the emergency room, maybe open my record and refresh my memory about the patient, call the emergency room, ask for the doc. He says, how did you even know she was here? And I say, hey, here's what I know. What does she know? And sometimes I've had this experience 3 times this year. I call the emergency room and ask the secretary, is the patient there? She's still in the waiting room. But I can see from the electronic record they drew blood and maybe did a chest X-ray. But sometimes the notice doesn't come right away. They've been there for a few hours. So I've rescued them from the waiting room. I say, well, can you take the phone to them? Or if I have their cell phone, I call them. And so I'm having a chat with my patient in the waiting room of the emergency room with the information of the tests that have already been done, but the doctor hasn't had time to get to them yet because they're not the sickest person. And it's first come, first serve unless you're sicker, then you get higher priority. So if you're not the sickest person, you might wait for a long, long time. So with all that information, I have a chat with my patient. I say, hey, what if I call a couple of prescriptions to the pharmacy across the street? You pick those up, go home and see me tomorrow. And they're delighted. So I've had that experience 3 times. Rescuing my people from the waiting room of the emergency room.
I love it. And that's the connection that you have. Linda just asked, do your other cohorts at the other offices give out their personal numbers as well? She said that's so thoughtful, very informative.
They do.
They do also?
Yeah, so tell Linda and Marilyn to give us a call.
Yeah, Linda, Marilyn, and we had another lady earlier that was like, well, yeah, my doctor is not that way. That's the reason why we say that. So innovarehealth.com. One final question before we wrap up. Pamela says that's excellent service, doctor. Yes, that's who he is. So again, we want you to have that same type of care. And if you're not having that, that's why Dr. Willey is saying that he's available to you. Okay, Linda just said that's sweet. Terry asked this. This is our final question we'll take here. She said, since her husband took it, I think she was talking about remdesivir. Since he took it, he now has cardio problems and diabetes. She said he was very healthy prior to COVID.
Yeah, I would have to go back to the resources to see if it's been if there's much of that. You know,
Yeah.
the COVID has had some heart correlate, and the COVID vaccines have as well, especially for young males. But whether I haven't heard that remdesivir causes diabetes or heart trouble, so that's not in my head. I'd have to go see if there's an experience there.
Okay.
It might be coincidental, you
Yeah.
know, if he's sometimes another illness causes attention from doctors and/or causes something lingering to flare and be discovered,
Okay.
rather than cause effect. But I never say never, never say always anymore, Monica.
Exactly. You
Always have to
can't.
look it up.
It's ever evolving.
I'm learning new stuff every day. I'm telling you what. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Willey, thank you again. It's Dr. Charles Willey and his associates with Innovare Health. Again, 5 locations, 11 hospitals that they're affiliated with. I want you to reach out and have this kind of care for yourself or for your parents or grandparents. Tell them about them. InnovareHealth.com. Thank you, sir. Great to see you again.
Okay. Thank you. I'll have to find a doctor for my technology here.
I'm just glad we got it to work.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be
I
back.
bailed and went to the iPhone.
Oh, is that? I was wondering how you got it to fix. Well,
Yeah.
we're glad we got it fixed, and hopefully we'll be back. They'll have the power back on, and we won't have to do this next Monday.
Now next Monday's
No, that's
Christmas.
Christmas, isn't it? Next Monday's
what do you-
Christmas.
What are you doing then?
Christmas?
Yeah.
Well, I'll be with my family. I hope you're going to be with your family. We'll
So you're
we'll
gonna
switch
just-
our day around.
You won't have a program on Christmas Day?
No, we want people to be spending that with their family.
Okay, great. Me too.
No, but we'll talk. We'll get you switched to a different day.
All right.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
All right.
We'll
Merry
be back,
Christmas.
everybody, to wrap up and give you that final rundown of the things that are coming up for you this week.
Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online envitahealthandwellness.com. Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show since we launched back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Personal training, life coaching, and styling as well. info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com.
Well, welcome back. Thank you again for being a part of today's show with all the craziness, and we just did a little dance together. I always appreciate your support, and remember, don't keep it to yourself. Please share and like and follow all of our live streams Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., and you can have that on Facebook and on YouTube. You can tell these symptoms. I need to get some more Dayquil in me. Up that vitamin C, get some more water. If any of you are going through any sickness right now, I wish you the absolute best. Let's see. Great show. Thank you. Somehow they had knowledge that he took the drug while in the hospital, Terry says. Oh, I gotcha. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. He also received a letter from Pfizer and was asked to sign a document. Oh, interesting. About 2 weeks ago. Yeah, there's a lot of things out there, Terry. A lot of unknowns, right? That's what we always say. So here's the fun things. I do want to say thank you, by the way. to one of our incredible sponsors, Kathy Kilo Peterson, State Farm agent. That's how you can find her, kkilo.com, 636-561-6460. I know a lot of you are doing your last minute shopping. How about you think about your kids and your grandkids and think about a life insurance policy that will continue to give back and give back and give back for years to come, right? Think about that. And then just all the wind damage and all the storms that we deal with. You've got ice things that happen as well throughout the winter. You don't want to have someone that's not going to be there for you. Just as much as we talk about health, it's the health of the entire family in the home. So State Farm, kkilo.com, 636-561-6460. I know all of you are very big on supporting those that support us. So please, when you need someone to be there for you, think about Kathy. Kathy Holdenreid, I will take care of myself. Before we wrap up, if you have not gone to our website yet, TheRealMonicaAdams.com, I want you to do so because you can win one of the Monica's must-haves. We are going to be joined by Mark at Mark Anthony's on Wednesday and then at Christopher's on Friday. And this is the must-have we'll be giving away. It is that middle part. It's the ab roller, and that is some new fitness equipment that he brought in. And that's kind of taking us back old school. There's a red one, there's a pink one. You'll get your choice. All you have to do is go to the website, TheRealMonicaAdams.com, click on what's new, and you just give us your name and your email address, and we put you in, and then we pick a number. It's as simple as that. No different. We also talked at the very beginning about the vision setting night that I'm doing with Cassius Satars. That's going to be on Thursday, 6 to 7:30 p.m. If you have not registered yet, we're down to just the last few days. I think we've got about 20 to 25 that are signed up so far. And if you have already, I'll be sending out a message to each and every one of you of how you'll be able to sign on. If you've got kids that you want to have be a part of it, again, 18 and under are absolutely free. We want to make sure that we get their mind set. And a lot of people were asking if there's anything you need to bring. Yes, just make sure you have a notepad or a journal, a pen, a quiet space where it's just you concentrating on you for an hour and a half. And then Cassius said maybe some books and magazines, because as you go through the meditation, when you open those up, there'll be actual words that might pop out to you, and you might wonder why are you focusing on those? Well, evidently it's what your heart and your mind are wanting to focus on. So those are the things that you need. It's that simple. Thank you to all of you. I am going to get some rest. I will get better. I am going to go take care of me, and I'm going to cancel some appointments that I had set for today because I think I need to lay down and take a little bit more sleep. I can feel like it's even though Dr. Willey said it doesn't, when we take the Dayquil and NyQuil, it doesn't necessarily get rid of the symptoms faster, but it does make us feel better for just a short period of time. And evidently it's run its course because I took it at about 5 o'clock and it's about out of me. So I'm going to go do that. I want all of you to take care of yourself as well. And hopefully I'll see you Thursday night. Tomorrow, by the way, John Zarbach is going to join us. He is with BioFit, and it is an entire new way of working out. I'm hoping that I will be able to see him in the studio tomorrow. If not, I will make sure that we come through this way. No matter what, I will be here for you. Why? Because John O'Leary said to show up. Thank you, each and every one of you. Yes, I will feel better. I appreciate all of your well wishes. Thank you for tuning in today and going through all the craziness. To all of you, if you are heading out, take care of you. All right. And everybody you come in contact with, if you're rushing around through the craziness of the season, know that it's really windy out there. By the way, I'm looking out the window and it's a little windy. It's going to be cloudy and it's going to be in the upper 30s for the high today and then down to 20 tonight. So take care of yourself. Bundle up. I'm going to go get some chicken noodle soup in me and get some rest and cuddle up with the best, the dogs. They're so warm. Thank you, everybody, for the hugs and the well wishes. Go out and do anything you want to do in the world today. Remember, as I always say, though, whatever you do, please be kind. God bless you all.